Retopology is the process of actually remodeling a character like this, or any model for that matter, with good clean topology. You can see this model here is, it looks fine, but when we check the topology of it, it's completely useless. There's a source model in ZBrush, and then we use something called decimation on it, just to make sure that it's really nice and low poly, well, relatively low poly. It was around 11 million polys in ZBrush, and something we can work with in ZBrush. So this has all the shapes we need to actually retopologize, and it still kind of looks like the character. So the purpose of retopology is so that you can actually animate a character and you can really optimize the topology. Characters like this would really need good topology made for it, and anything automatic just isn't good enough, and obviously something like this really can't be used for anything. So in order to do that, we have to retopologize it. Retopologizing in Maya is actually surprisingly powerful. It's by far one of my favorite ways of retopologizing, and its tools are really mature and nice. It revolves around using two tools. It revolves around using the Make Live button over here, and it revolves around using the Quad Draw tool. Make Live is something we briefly alluded to in the snapping chapter, but we didn't really touch upon. So let's talk about that. Make Live is enabled by clicking on the button here, or clicking on the model. Make sure that's selected, and then we click Make Live. Make Live is the nice magnetic field here. What this does is it allows us to snap anything to the model. For instance, if we make a cube now, and then we just try this vert, it's going to snap to the surface of the model like so. Now this is essentially what retopology is. You know, we take some shapes like this, and we snap it onto the surface. Now this is kind of convoluted. You know, the way we do it before is we take an edge here and we extrude it around and try to conform it to the model and Make Live. But luckily, we don't have to do that anymore because we have Quad Draw. Quad Draw is fantastic, and it's a really good way of retopologizing. So we find this under the modeling toolkit. You find that over here and in the middle. Then we go all the way down to the bottom, and here we have it to the bottom right. So click on Quad Draw, and once this is active, now we can just click on the model where we want topology. So click 1, click 2, click 3, and click 4. And now we have some points which we can turn into a quad. We can shift the shift key to turn this into a quad. And then we can use the left mouse button just on the corners just to really refine the shape like so. We can also hold down the tab key and we will extrude it out like so. You can see here whenever you hold down a certain key over a different area, you get different, like you get a little different text thing popping up and a little highlighting popping up as well. This just indicates what it's going to do when you do that thing. So tab is really what we're going to be doing the most of. Hold on tab on top of a shape like this, and we can just really nicely get something out. So in this case here, we want to fill this in. You could do this, and you can hold on shift and just paint over it. Or what we can do, we can extrude this out, and then we can extrude from the corner here, hold on the tab key, and just drag it out like so. Or we could have extruded out by holding tab and middle mouse button and extruding the entire thing, and you can see it merges out. Are on the same speed really. Completely depends on your personal preference. So if you want more loops here, we can hold on tab, middle mouse button, and just drag out like so, and then we can refine it. We can also smooth it out by holding the shift key, and that's going to smooth it out like so. There's a problem though that it's very small. We can only relax one point at a time or one polygon at a time. So it would have been great if there was a way to do this with a larger brush, and there is. If we hit the B key, now we have the soft select tool. This is essentially exactly the same tool as we used in the soft select chapter. So this allows us to actually soft select the edges, or if we were to smooth something out, this would soft select this as well. We can also add more loops by holding down a control key and clicking in the middle, or clicking anywhere really, doesn't really matter where it is. And like with the multicut tool earlier, if you hold down middle mouse button, it's going to put it in the center. Even though we hold here, it's going to put it right in the center. So now we have some nice and dense topology, and now we can make it a bit bigger with the B key, and then we can just smooth it out like so. But you can see one thing which is a bit weird, is that it only smooths the internal shapes. It doesn't actually smooth anything on the outside. So if we screw this up like crazy, it's only going to smooth the inside of it. So the way we can smooth the outside is by holding down the shift key while hovering over and clicking on the outside. So now it's only going to smooth the outside. So what you can do, you can really hit the B key just to disable smooth, or soft select, and then we can really make the outside tight like this. Hit the B key again, and now we can smooth the inside of it. You can also change the behavior down here as well, where it says relax. We can also set this to auto lock, interior edges. Auto lock is by default. We can set it to only smooth interior, only border edges, or all verts. So if you want to smooth everything, we can totally do that as well. We can just set it to that, but I prefer to set it to auto lock. I just have a bit more control that way. We can also delete edges this way with the multicut tool. So, sorry, with the quadro tool. So we can hold down shift and control, and we can click on an edge, and this will just delete the edge. We can also do this on a polygon as well. So we can click here. Or we can do this on a whole range like this. If we click on an outer border, it will delete the entire border like this. Now we can't do this if we get to the point which would delete the last remaining polygon, because there has to be one polygon left. But it's a really, really clever way of deleting something, because we can just delete something very quickly. We can also hold down Control and Shift, Control and Shift, and we can just paint over what we want to delete as well. Then we can use extrude from here and just extrude out like so. One thing which is handy as well is that this tool here it's like a really multifunctional tool. It can do anything. So if we go all the way down to the bottom, you can see we have keyboard and mouse shortcuts. If we just open this up, you can see that we have all the shortcuts in the world. There's so many things it can do. Now we have covered the most important ones here, but if you're interested in really, really maximizing this tool, just make sure to go over these shortcuts and just look into them, seeing what you can do. You can really optimize your workflow that way. But in short, the quadro tool is very easy to use. The first thing you got to do is you got to select your reference. Please name it something like reference as well. That makes it a lot easier to find later on. Then you click on the make live button. You can see it's live up here. Then you select the quadro. You draw out some dots, and then you start to tab and drag out. You can also see what it did there as well by accident. That's if you just hold on the tab key and you just draw out a strip like this. You can now just draw out topology. I don't find this to be very handy, to be honest, but if that's something you want to do, you can do this as well. I don't really find this useful at all. It's one of these fancy features, but it's not actually that handy. So I prefer to just do it by hand. The way I retopologize is very, very slowly, one poly at a time. For instance, if you want to bridge this together, you just hold on Shift key and just click where you want to bridge them together. So in the next chapter, we're just going to do a quick retopo job on this guy here, and we're going to talk about some of the fundamentals of retopology.